The four of them have been conversing about a moral dilemma. They knew you guys were coming, and they wanted to see if they can hypothesize or predict your guys' outcome, your decision, and they want your help with it. They're trying to determine if the moralities of all existence will predetermine the same outcome, that of chance. And they're requesting that as you four, just before you take your journey to Alkalite, will humor them. Before you is a fork in the road in which a single vehicle travels down. The road has a fork. The roads for each fork are narrow, maybe 6 feet wide, and the edges fall to oblivion. On one fork is a man, tied down, restrained, and unable to be moved. His bindings seem to bury into the very ground he lays. The other fork, 5 men, again bound, unable to move. The vehicle travels in a set and predetermined direction, and whose course can only be altered by one lever, which changes which fork it travels down, running over either the man or the men. You cannot stop the vehicle or the driver, and you cannot remove the men from the road. You cannot block it with a tree or a boulder, and you cannot break the bindings. Which fork do you send the vehicle down? And why? You guys can talk amongst yourself. They're all four of them are watching you, listening to see how you guys decide. And this is a group project essentially. They want to see how you five communicate and what you guys decide.
Huddle.
What's the value of all the men?
Are you trying to it's not, you don't eat the people, that's not what they're telling
Not what I was getting at. People aren't worth anything, or if the 5 people are worth more than the one individual, I'd rather keep the 5 people.
Nikki, or not Nikki, excuse me, Rhaza, as you said that, you see. So eventually they all look to you now and want to know what your guys' choice as a group is. Do you have the vehicle run over the 1 man? Do you have the vehicle run over the 5 men?
There has to be a way to save all of them, right?
I find it's pointless to pick between the two, to be honest.
Let fate decide.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that wasn't their question.
So you guys refusing to answer?
I answered.
Who?
I said the one guy, take the one guy out.
Okay. So
it's a trick question.
let me assure you, there is no trick here. We are just trying to ascertain information.
You already said that the car was on a predetermined path.
Correct.
No matter what we do, that path will still go through.
Right?
That is correct. We are not here to gauge whether or not you're able to save the men or not. We are trying to determine whether or not you value one life over many.
That's a fair question, but ultimately, I don't like making decisions on stuff that I can't change.
So
If
you
I can't
refuse.
change it, let it happen.
So you refuse to answer the question.
So you doom all 5 then.
No, the question is already answered. We just haven't seen the answer yet. Why am I going to fight to change it?
So the absence of choice, do not stain your own hands. Shall we maybe, how do you say, sweeten the pot, per se? Same proposition, 5 people on one side of the coin, and the other, 1 on the other. But this time, let us change the variables. And he waves his hands over the glass, and you start to see it change. The 5 men start to stand upright, and then their bodies start to change. As the floor changes, you see the features alter to varying adults and 1 child. The Viking starts to speak. The surgeon has a choice to make, and needs your help. The child has 5 failing organs: heart, brain, kidneys, and liver. 5 adults each have 1 failing organ, which can be taken from the child. The adults also have organs that can be taken from the adults to save the child. The surgeon has enough tissue, resources, time, and compatibility to either save the child or the 5 adults. Let's make this more interesting, shall we? The child is merely 7 years old and has not experienced the world and has lived with a loving family. The adults are as follows: a man who has served his country in the highest of honors and retired with his family. A widow who was married for 60 years, loyal and cared for her dying husband. A teacher who helps kids, like the very one here, graduate with honors and success. A politician who served with honor. His community flourished under his time, and people thrived. A prisoner, detained for murdering his wife's killer, and burning down the building the killer lived in. There were 2 innocents inside. He didn't know. Now you guys are forced to make a decision. No, I will not walk away until you guys have told me which you say.
You did budget for everything, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Are they willing to?
What?
Are they willing to give up the? I'm saying these are terrible.
Uh-huh.
Are they willing to give up these?
That they are aware that they very well may die saving a child.
They have a
Are
problem.
we allowed to speak with those that are selected for this test?
No, you may not.
Go around.
You failed to elect and make a decision on my last question. Now, you have to make a decision here. And you will not be given any more information than what you've been given. Now choose.
Oh, well, I've made my decision on this one. Just because you didn't like the choice I made on the last one doesn't mean it wasn't a choice. If people are willing to do it, save the child.
We are very aware you made a choice. But this was a contingent plan that involved all. We are making a wager, a prediction on the outcome of choices and how people react to humanity.
How many have been put in the situation that we find ourselves in now?
Are you talking in this instance, or every instance we've experienced? Retracting to back to something that you guys have already been told. This is a center of all information. Every single story, every single tale, every single word or gospel has come through this point and gifted to someone as knowledge. If someone wrote a book, the pinnacle gave them that knowledge to write that book. Their 5 failing organs are not also her failing organs. They have very healthy working organs that she needs. She has very healthy organs.
Gotcha.
That they
Okay, that's what I was getting confused on. Okay.
So the majority of them are elderly or retired in age, so to speak.
Not necessarily. One is a man who just served his country. I didn't give you
I
a
could have
specific.
sworn.
Nope. Let me read this over again. A man who served his country with the highest of honors and retired with his family. Retirement for military members, as you and I know, does not necessarily mean a 60-year-old man. Someone who only serves 4 to 8 years can get out of the military retired. A widow who married for 60 years, loyal and cared for her dying husband. A teacher, also not retired, who helped kids, like the very one here, graduate with honors and success. A politician who served with honor, his community flourished under his time and people thrived. Politicians don't necessarily have to serve 40 years like we have politicians. They could very well just have been 4. A prisoner, no age given, detained for murdering his wife's killer and burning down a building the killer lived in. There were 2 innocents inside. He did not know.
Do I see like the actual like personages like? In
Oh yeah, you see their faces. You see the detail. However you want to perceive that information, you see that. You see Donovan. You roll a empathy check.
I don't know why we're still talking.
That's
We can kill them
Yeah.
already.
It has to be a choice to save all the lives. All lives matter.
13.
Unfortunately, sometimes you do have to go beyond humanity in order to save others.
Just be.
Let me be very clear, Taryn. You're not saving everyone. Someone in this equation dies. What'd you roll?
16.
A 16. So you're like, oh, okay, all right, but it didn't scare you. You weren't intimidated.
He's looking at it in terms of the value of the 5 individuals who are willing to give up their life. Yeah, sure, but do they have more value than the potential? It's one of those situations where the potential of the kid is how valuable is his
Yeah.
life. That's what he's weighing in
Yeah,
against.
and we're not guaranteed.
Correct. That the kid stays around.
What about you? You're off the quiet.
I was the first one to answer. What do you mean?
Like,
I
above
said I
table.
would save
Above
the kid.
table. You
Yeah.
would save the kid.
I said I would save the kid. All 5 adults, at least 4 of them we know, are pretty damn old, and they're all willing to give up their organ to save the kid.
How long does the kid stay around for?
The child lives a full and healthy life.
So 80 years-ish?
However long a child or human, Taryn, grows up in her world. Let me be very clear. This guarantees life. Your decision. The child lives or the 5 adults live. There is no trick here. So please, choose. That's time left to
A
choose.
naive fool and a ghoul with a sense of value, and then
I
you.
choose to save the child.
Fuck.
I guess he would save the kid.
You fool. You don't see that there's a timer.
Exactly what you choose.
You have to
Save
kill
the child.
somebody.
For the children.
So would you stand next to me?
I don't care what hero's path your foolish people have sent you on. This is the real world. You
Life
either have
doesn't.
to kill the 5 adults, like the blue lady said, or we kill the child. Either way, I'm down for either one, but I say the 5 people make more sense.
You're
No,
you're a
no,
ghoul.
no.
Taryn, make a decision. Make a decision, Taryn. Now.
I
I'll
slam on the display case and I choose this child.
Because you guys had to get to this particular question, Elvira decides to wave her hands over the reflection, and you see the 5 adults just from the ground being grabbed by hands, like 6 or 7 hands, and then dragged down below. They're screaming and as they're being pulled down. So you don't, like, you feel, that sucks, but like you don't weigh on the emotion. You're not too bothered by it as they're pulled down. Thank you for partaking in that experiment. We can't wait to see how your guys' adventure responds to this level of questioning. And she looks at you all and says, I want to reassure you that the world of Alkalite, you're going to have harder decisions than this that have real world impacts.
This is the right choice. This is what we have to do. Sometimes, especially if we have willing participants, we just do what we have to do.
Consent. It's sexy.
How good of a deal did I get with giving this child a life?
As she's clutching her book, she kind of wanders back over to the glass, and she leans over and she just kind of waves her hand over it. You see almost a crystal clear image, like a moving painting. You've never seen something like this before. And you are watching this 90-year time lapse. This little girl has scars and stuff from the procedures, but she's walking around, she's healthy, she's happy. She's playing with kids, her hair is growing back. The scars are still visible, but the procedure was done so finitely, so perfectly, that the scars almost dissipate, and you almost have to do like this double take to see the scars on her as she ages. She graduates from her primary school. She's able to grow up. She finds a companion, a lover. She has 2 kids, a son and a daughter. The son is older, who joins the military and has a very successful career. The daughter becomes a doctor herself. As the woman gets older, she's able to retire to the countryside with her husband, and they live out the rest of their life. The husband dies at approximately 67 years old, and she continues to live into her 90s. She's very happy and content, and she dies with her children by her side.
Like, we all see this, right?
Yes.
And so I'm still bothering you, just saying, I may not believe in these hero cliches that you may have been indoctrinated on, but that feels like what a hero would do right there.
Kelsa looks to you now, and she goes, almost like with a, not disappointed, but bothered look on her face, as much as a humanoid rabbit can. Looks at you and goes, are you satisfied?
I kind of nod and walk towards the.
She's a rabbit, you're a dog. She doesn't like you for that relationship.
We were expecting some deep conflict in this.